Congratulations to Kerala Startup Mission for the 4th edition of Huddle. It's a great honor, and organizing this unique discussion, the topic itself, and getting this power, 3 couples to discuss the success story, it's very interesting. Though I didn't get chance to, research a lot, but I was just asking Mabel and Anish that how many such panels have you participated? So they said it's the first time as a couple being part of a discussion. So looking forward to an exciting discussion. From the audience, how many of you are here to attend this with your spouse? 1. Show of hands. How many of you are, all right, there are few, 4 of them I can make out. How many of you spouses are in the same profession? Doctors, lawyers, again. 2 of them. So that's something which is unique, right? I think something very interesting which can come out from this discussion. What I'm really keen is to understand how the journey started. Many of the startups, they start on their own. We are aware of many startups who are siblings, who are batchmates. How did your journey start? So what I'm going to do is basically, there are 3 set of major takeaways that we intend to take from this session. But for the introduction, let's have how the journey started. Same question to all 3 couples here. How the journey started?
For me and Anish, we were co-founders for 2 startups. We have done 2 startups, failed miserably with the second one, and then decided to get married.
Yeah, so we started in 2008. As Mabel mentioned, we did 2 startups together, and then later probably we decided that our wavelengths matter. So while we are joining hands in business, why don't we join hands in our personal lives? That's how we did the 3rd and the 4th startup. Interestingly, we also worked in 2 other large organizations together as a part of the senior leadership, PAU and Citrus. That was possibly because of the acquisition of 2 of the startups. And that gave us a lot of insights on like how should a couple work in the same departments or this thing like that. So that's how our journey got started.
Sandeep.
Hi everyone. Our story started with a train journey. So I was already an entrepreneur, and during one of the train journeys, we usually ping ideas between each other, and Avasarshala as our idea started with connecting some of the parents with opportunities for children, and we were thinking about a marketplace. Like all these things happened with the business model canvas, what you must be studying during the basics of entrepreneurship. And then we started off with a WhatsApp community. And that was our story for Avasarshala as we went through. But it all happened because we keep pinging ideas between each other. And I would like to, that's the, we always, the partnership of learning from each other happens throughout. And that was how Avasarshala came to be.
Yeah, sorry guys, so we are that nerdy couple. So actually, I was working in a corporate sector for a very long time. So amongst all the people here in this panel, I am the youngest entrepreneur because I have the least number of years in this entrepreneurial journey. I was always seeing Sandeep and his previous co-founders. He's one ex-entrepreneur, so I was always seeing them work in a startup. Talk about ideas, keep using all these tools. It was so different from the corporate scenario. I was always working with a set of colleagues. We had things that were already decided for us. There were rules, regulations, or SOPs that were created by someone else already. And here I was seeing a lot of excitement where everything is so fluid, it's so flexible, and it's every new thing happens on in every hour. So for me, startup was very glamorous. It was so exciting. And when the opportunity came, I was so geared up to just pitch in. And I think it just so happened that we are a husband and wife into this, but as co-founders, we kind of keep away the family dynamics, and yeah, we do kill each other's ideas and keep, like pushing each other to think more and think beyond every day.
Great. What about this?
First of all, thank you for this opportunity. Just after my college, I got married to Jobin. It's an arranged marriage. So it was in 2010. Then after that, I got pregnant and I couldn't work more. I was just working for 6 months. And I took a break. After the break, when I get back to the field, it was like there was not much opportunities. Just 6 months break. After 6 months break, there was no much opportunities. So I was sitting, then Jobin suggested me, okay, why don't you work on an application? Why don't you start developing an application? And we were sitting together, we idealized an application, and we were working on it. And after developing an application, we published, and we had a reference to give to some clients so that we could get some service jobs, Android application development jobs. Then Jobin also resigned from his job and he also joined me. We were working in our home, in the first floor of our home. We were only two with 2 laptops. We were sitting and doing our work. Then another person came requesting for a work. Okay, so we thought, why don't we move to another building? Because in our home, it is not that flexible to allow somebody else to. So after our second kid born, we went to a new building. And it was a very small building, just can occupy 7 people. And we started there. Jobin was an analyst, business analyst, and he was good at operations, business operations. I'm just a techie. So we together, we complement our skills so we could build a good startup. And it took 10 years, maybe we can say 8 years to reach up to 100. Then it only took very few, 1 or 2 years to reach it to 200. That's how we grown.
So, good morning to you all, and my name is Jobin Jose. To add to Jismi's points, I just want to tell you that we are a service company, and we give NetSuite, that is an ERP, a cloud-based ERP, and we are partners of Oracle. And we do have e-commerce offerings. So we have technically started in 2012, and this is our 10th year. So we took almost 5 years to reach from 2 to 10, and another 4 years to reach 100 resource company, and only 1 year we took to reach 200 resource company. Thank you.
So from arranged to finding common interest to, I think you were destined to be together. So from a perspective of, building a team, as you said, you started with 2, then 5, and then 200 now. From that perspective, for a startup to start with the team building part, what we always want is people who are like-minded, people who share common goals. As you said, that you found the same wavelength. So from that perspective, how good it was to have a business partner who is also your life partner, and you are just not building an enterprise together, but a life not for yourself, but also for the team. So how it was you feel that being a partner in life and in business would be a great advantage for your success story, and it could be something which, people can also look forward to. Who would like to take amongst you?
So, running a business with a family or as couples, it has got its own positives and it has got its own negatives. I'll probably touch upon a little bit on the negatives and then I'll come to the main point which you're trying to ask about. How it impacts the culture building part, which is very critical for any startup. So on the negative side, firstly, getting investments was a big challenge, especially when you are a couple. And in our startup, fortunately or unfortunately, the third co-founder is my brother. So it's like always treated as a family company, right? A Lala company, what they say, right? So that was very, in terms of investors, raising funds, it was difficult. But most importantly, I had worked in husband and wife companies and had very bad experiences because decisions always gets taken in the bedroom, right? So most of the people have this fear of like, okay, if I'm working with a husband and wife, maybe one of them may not be really eligible just because he is a wife or a husband. That's the reason why that person is in this business. And they may take decisions in the bedroom. Hey, I don't like this guy, so let's fire him, kind of a thought process. So that was a negative generally, which have when a couple runs a business. But in our case, the good part was that since this is the 7th organizations, including 5 startups which we are together, all the worst thing which can happen probably happened in the first startup which we did. We did all the big mistakes in the first startup which we did together. And also when we worked in other corporates, we also realized that, okay, how important it is not to bring your family into your workplace and also make others comfortable so that they don't really have the thing. Now, while building Open, today we have around 600 people. I think day one, we realized that culture is very important for us. And what we also did was that we had an initial team of around 20-25 people, and all of them know each other. We had been like in, worked together in the past 5 organizations. In fact, that was also probably one challenge because like when you have like a group of people who know each other, when an outsider comes in, then it was the thing. So we had to actually address that as well. But we really sat on the first day on what kind of a company, if you have to build a global enterprise, it needs to be a cosmopolitan because we had 80% of the people speaking Malayalam as a language in this thing. But we consciously decided that we need to have people from all across. Today we have around people from 21 different states, and Malayalam speaking colleagues are probably number 3. Similarly, we also ensured that, okay, between us, the kind of like the departments which we own, so she takes care of marketing, operations, and people and culture, where I take care of product and banking alliances and sales. So we don't really interfere in each other. We always consciously try not to. In fact, we now sit in 2 different towers, so we don't even, but that's not the important point I was trying to say. But I think this, for every couple who is trying to start a business, there is a lot of advantages because entrepreneurship is a very lonely journey. And getting a co-founder, it's like marriage, technically, because 1 in 1,000 is what you get the right wavelength and frequency. That's why you see a lot of founders having difference in opinion and moving up. So I don't think anything wrong in like, a couple being this thing, but they need to understand from the other's perspective, from your colleagues, from your initial employees, how do they perceive, how do you make them comfortable that, okay, they don't bring their family influence or that into the workplace. I mean, it's a large topic, so in 2 minutes, it's very difficult to this thing, but that's why,
But Anish, particularly the investment part, how did anybody explicitly, raise that concern to you that it's all within the family? How did you address that?
I think I'll just answer that. I think we are lucky to have investors who very upfront told that we don't really care about whether you are a husband, whether it is, we have large investors from Google, Visa, Tiger Global to investors like Unicorn Ventures from Kerala, and they have been very supportive in this aspect. Probably it's also the way in which we are, when we are able to build the culture, the 500, 600, and also investors very, very supportive. But initial startups, in the previous startups which we did, we got a lot of rejections just because we are a couple.
But interesting is that, you saying that finding a co-founder is technically pretty much similar to marriage only. What's Sandeep, what's your take on that trend?
So there are two kinds of people. One who are very active and creative during the day, and one who is really active and creative during night. And they marry each other. Okay. So, but in the process of our journey, it has always been, like we are constantly, connecting with, separating out our responsibilities. But at the same time, there are, our goals and KPIs that we have to look at. We kind of work with each other and discuss that, but that happens during the, our, the lunch and dinner table. That always happens. But ultimately, what we see is that our, wavelengths match quite a lot, and that's although our work takes us through a different set of teams who might need to, work, but it's usually one person who is the point of contact, and hence it has not much of a problem for us so far.
So we do a lot of things very consciously. We try to keep two different types of social circles for each other, because that's obviously going to help us in the long run, because he will have a different set of professional connections. I, at my stage, will have a different sort of connections. We don't try to mingle each other. And this also brings us to two different types of social settings and very different types of professional settings and meetings, etc., which is really good in a way. We both get our own individual space, even though we are running the same organization with the same ideologies, etc. And also, we do have this midnight epiphanies, which is very good since we are always 24/7 together, even at home as well as company. But one thing somehow we did was we did not really mention that we are husband and wife. Whenever we are having a meeting, we usually refer to each other as co-founders. So sometimes this comes as a huge surprise to people. After interacting with us for a very long time, they suddenly realize, hey, you're actually a couple. So yesterday, I don't know how many of you read, there was an article about us on Manorama, Kochi couple building Avasarshala. We got a lot of messages asking us, okay, so you're married. So I don't know if it is good or not, but somehow we try not to actually showcase that we are a married couple running a family business together, because that's not how our work dynamics has been. We always try and keep husband and wife and co-founders different. So at least even while making the team comfortable, as Anish just mentioned, or bringing in new stakeholders into our company, this is not usually a topic that we address unless it is really important.
But does it happen anytime that you tell Sandeep that while I want you to review this report, at the same time, can you check the electricity bill is paid? Does that happen?
So we have this thing, hey, I am the co-founder speaking right now. Yeah, we have that moment a lot.
So, Jobin, as you said, from 5 to 20, how did you as a couple make sure that the vision, the commitment is translated to the core team of 20, the first team that you built? That's essentially, how did you take care of that part? Jismi.
Basically, we initially what we did is we segregated our duties. So that's what the first thing that we do. So there is no difference of opinion. If there is, then the most experienced one will take the final decision. So the area of expertise will decide who will take the final decision. So that really helped us in our growth. And we had a few members initially. So we all take the freshers. We were taking the freshers. We group them and we give them what is our culture. We nurture them based on our culture. So as a family, it was really easy to express, okay, this is what you have to do. And they also were working really hard, as we do, because most of our customers were US-based customers. So the time zone difference really matters. The meetings, everything comes in night. So all the core team members were happy to sit for the meeting even during the night times. So they are not hesitant because they see what we are doing. So they were also cooperating really well, and it was gave a very good foundation for our basic culture.
You would like to add to it? I mean, like, I understand it's the expert opinion, but do you discuss, as Anish was saying, on the dining table as well, business while at home?
Hello.
Yeah.
Actually, first 3-4 years, we were actually discussing a lot of things in the dining table. That is how we grown our business. But later we identified that our only subject, our talking subject is only business. So then that we identified we have 3 kids, and we are not even thinking about them for the initial days. So we thought we have to restrict that subject at office and sometimes when we are private in our home. So that is how we segregated business and home. And at office, what we do is, she is a very good technologist, and I know some operations. So we do not intertwine. So that is how we operate.
Keep the paths clean.
Yeah.
Right. So one interesting observation, we saw that in the beginning of the session as well. If I just say few data points from my perspective, in Dubai since last Expo 2020 till date under the India Innovation Hub project and now at Startup Middle East, we hosted around 800 startups from India who visited Dubai. Out of that, around 100 startups were found, had a female founder and a male founder, co-founders. So they were like, both, irrespective of being couple. And around 680 of them were male founders. And only 31, who were like, so 100 female founders and 31 only who had co-founders, male and female. So how would you make sure that, what is your perspective take on that? That's a data point that I have. We are working on an Outlook report. So while you are building the team as well, while you are hiring people, how do you make sure that it is, do you have any criteria of, or it is completely, on basis of skill set, or, how do you intake people? And what's your take on this data point that I had to share? Out of 800, only 30 has both co-founders.
That's not a pretty bad ratio actually, compared to if you see ecosystems outside India, the ratio is even worse. So we actually have at least 100, 170 women founders working only in fintech. That's, we are participating in a community event together. So there are around 120 of us already in the group. So overall, the ratio of women founders in India is not skewed. Now there's an interesting fact in the structure of Open. Me and Anish, 2 co-founders. Achuthan is Anish's brother. He's the 3rd co-founder. And now we have a 4th co-founder called Deena Jacob. She's not related to us. She was a friend, she was a client in one of our earlier startups, and that's how we joined the journey together. And it's an interesting mix, 2 women, 2 men. And one thing that happened when we were growing the team at Open is like, for a very long time, we had a 50-50 ratio of men is to women. I don't know whether we did anything consciously to attract more women. Yeah, there were certain things in place that, the culture that we were building or what we had set out to build, the kind of values that we were driving at Open were friendly enough for attracting more women. But yeah, there's one thing that we do even today, and that is put a lot of force on trying to retain women. Now today we at scale of 600, we are definitely nowhere near the 50-50 that we were earlier. But we're not all that bad. Around 37% of the workforce at Open is still women. Compared to industry standards, that does match a little better. But there's a big force that Deena and I at least ensure to retain more women in the workforce. I can't help if someone got married to someone else in some other state and has to move. But when it comes to maternity or trying to, get more women back into the workforce post-maternity break, Those are some things that we are otherwise very active and proactive in driving as founders.
That's ideally a very good example that you are setting, particularly right from the co-founder structure to in the organization. Yes, Anish, you were saying.
Just to add a few points, I think Mabel missed it, and I also want to disagree a little bit with Mabel on certain points which you mentioned, like we've not done anything purposefully for increasing this thing. So the first thing is like 70% of our senior leadership, apart from the founders, are women. And as Mabel told, for a very long time, we were a 50-50 ratio of men and women. Now it has gone down to 37%. We don't really believe, since we believe as an equal opportunity employer, we don't really believe in giving reservations because we believe that equally capable. But there are certain things that we as organizations can do. For example, right from a dedicated wellness counselor, mental counselor, for mental well-being. And it's not just like for the sake of an HR activity which we do this. There are women who is into abusive relationships with in their home. We actually conduct workshops. There are cases where we had gone to the extent of like helping someone get out of their home, going to a police complaint and things like that. These are conscious efforts that we do. Or people who are into their maternity breaks. So we do a lot of, I don't say conscious, it's not an HR thing, it's something which is as a family, what we believe is that we need to have more women participation in the company. So that's one thing where we consciously take a lot of, I think it's part of the DNA of the company.
That's great.
And just to add one more point, sorry on that, when we are talking of organization culture, it is not just about what the founders or co-founders mandate out. It's very easy and then it will get diluted at scale. But somewhere have your next level of leadership take on that culture and build it forward, and then make every new joiner realize what the culture is and understand that, and once they see it in place, they themselves become the ambassadors to take it forward at scale. And that's how probably at scale you can maintain the same culture.
That's great. What is your take, Ashwathy, on that? And Sandeep, how do you make sure that, is it completely based on, the value or, how well the person is, or do you make some conscious effort as well?
So, at least at this stage that we hire based on skill, but somehow because we have a proper mix in the co-founding team, we are attracting a lot of female employees into our company. So in fact, it is high, very high. 80% of our employees are women. So it might be because the team is already very comfortable working with a woman leadership. There is already a co-founder mix. If, we don't really have a gender play when it comes to mentorship or even hand-holding or interacting, hiring, nothing. So we as founders, even though we do not take a conscious effort in scouting female talent or male talent into our team, somehow we are able to attract that sort of comfort for women to come and work. We have also a very flexible work schedule for both men and women in order to, take along all their interests, because we are attracting a lot of younger talent. So I am not saying that a lot of people don't have family apart from their parents. So family commitments are not a big issue that we have to deal with, but most of them work on side projects. They do have a lot of hobbies and interests, and pandemic actually brought in like a bevy of things that they are into. So our work usually allows them to take along all these things as well. So for both women as well as men working in our company, we try and give that inclusive feeling, and I think it's like easier when two founders are sitting of both genders and trying to, lobby for each of the genders whenever there is a reason to do that. Do you have anything to add, Sandeep?
I have a different take. This is based on our users. So we cater to school children, and we have predominantly girls who are utilizing our opportunities. And we see many girls who are winning prizes winning scholarships. That number is very high compared to the number of male students utilizing those opportunities. Why this is not translating to entrepreneurship, building companies? That's something that we definitely have to look at in the with a different eye altogether. We believe it's like during there is like a lot of family support plays a big role in them taking different roles. Like definitely taking their own decisions. Possibly this could be one of the factors, but it's still something that we have to see.
But anyways, it's commendable that your team has 80% of women in the team. It's really commendable. What is your take, Jismi, on?
So basically, there are a lot of talented, energetic women out there who have career gaps. I experienced myself. For 1 year gap, I had to face several questions. Why? Why you are having gap? Even though they know that in status we are writing, I am married, they are asking why this gap, and they are hesitant to take the people. So we are promoting the people with career gap. So we have people more than 15 years of career gap. They are coming to us, and we are not asking any questions. We just ask, okay, why? It's because of family responsibilities. And we take those people, we give good training for them, and I can say that they are amazing. They are giving really valuable effort. They are so much dedicated. Even though they have family responsibilities, they take extra time and invest, and they really are happy and keen to know more. And it's truly amazing that they are performing really well. And more than 60% of our workforce are women. And in the management also, we have a good number of women. Maybe we can say more than men, we have women in the management also. For the finance, all the heads mostly are women, other than the project managers and directors. And we do have women in technical field who are project managers. So they are doing really brilliant job. Do not keep women away. You're missing a really good chance to build your company. So you take people nearby areas where you just do a recruitment. See if there is any people who is eligible. If you have the, get the qualification, then take the people and just give them the material. They will train themselves. You just need to give a brief introduction what the product is, and just need to guide them, okay, this is how you need to learn. The rest they will do, and within very short time, they will make large impact.
To add to this, our core team is actually a 12-member team, including me and Jismi, and only 4 are men. All other 8 are women. So that
you guys are setting the right examples.
Okay. And second thing, I just want to advise the young entrepreneurs and budding businessmen here. Your wives are the most trusted business partner you can ever have.
I just wanted to hear that. No, I seriously feel, agreeing to both of you that, I would have loved to have Neeti also here, co-hosting this, moderating this session with me. But I'm told that we are out of our time and we can take 2 questions, right? So, do we have 2 questions ready, anybody? Or what we can do is, while 2 of you get ready with the questions, quickly, as a closing remark, I think, building, in my business, which I've been just 7 months, last 2 months was exponential since Neeti decided that she can now spare time for me and my business. So it has been exciting and roller coaster, right? And building a business together and having your wife to comfort you, because there are times which are high to, and there are times which are not that, positive maybe, or that not happy moments, how do you guys, support each other in that sense as well? We should encourage more of, couples, particularly, if there are women who are not working, they have time, how they can support their spouse with their business or profession. How do you guys, would, throw some light on that part? As closing remarks, meanwhile, I would request audience to be ready with the 2 questions. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Your spouse definitely
It's
is
been
your-
5 startups, so I can understand.
Spouse definitely is the best co-founder you can have. The flip side of it is you go through the ups together, but you also go through the downs together. And that is the biggest time when you need someone to pull you through, and to have someone navigate the same journey along with you and see you through all the troughs of life, through all the trenches of the startup world. There's nothing more amazing than that. The flip side of it is there is nothing called work-life balance. It is work all the way. And you'll have to find your balance in whatever you do. In my case, I would say work is equal to life, and hence it balances out.
Great answer.
So 5 seconds. So it's also very important that the other partner is interested in your business. Just because like one partner is doing a business and making the other partner, because there's a lot of personal sacrifices you have to go through this journey. So it's also, that part is also very important. So it's not for everyone. Maybe like your partner would have a different idea, or like he or she may not be passionate about something else. So don't force into that.
Like what happened in our case was, like we were told, like as mentioned, there should be an interest first. If there is an interest, provide opportunities to skill up to, like give space to, help them understand what is really this business, what could be, generally not the business itself, but learning the nuances of each of it. And, once you feel that, there is a skill up happening and matching your partner's levels, that becomes much more easier to, take this forward.
So there was this time, as I said, I was new into entrepreneurship, and when we had this whole idea come into place and I was trying to work out the business model canvas with him, he figured that I am not able to navigate a lot of tools that are usually used in the startup ecosystem. I am an MBA graduate, but then when I was doing my MBA, I never thought I would become an entrepreneur. So I really did not give too much importance to all those nitty-gritties when it was discussed in class. So we took time. We actually went to Coimbatore. There was a program that was happening, an entrepreneurial boot camp. So we stayed there, and it was all for me to learn entrepreneurship. So it actually helped, because when I came back, when both of us came back, it was a revision for him, it was foundation for me. We could get into proper, we could talk about theoretical things at the same level. So I think he and myself made that investment in my learning when it came to entrepreneurship. It's because we kind of felt that we are together in this journey no matter what. I mean, like, if it's some other co-founding team, you feel that one of the people are the bottleneck. I mean, I don't know if they would spend that much time and effort to bring them up onto the same level. So a couple founders usually try and invest in each other. They try and balance out whenever there is a gap in one of the people. And as Mabel said, thank God you're also not finding work-life balance. We are not. So we discuss business all the time. Even, like train journeys are, for me, I am someone who keeps saying, hey, we probably need to find work-life balance. Are we talking about anything else other than work? But then we keep doing the same thing. Like, we end up talking, because that's most interesting for us. We end up talking about Avasarshala or any new trends or something new we saw, people we met, etc., etc. So yeah, that keeps happening. But we wouldn't have it any other way. Any founder sitting here thinking if your wife or husband might be the best founder, just go. Just go ahead. If they are not from an entrepreneurial background, do this, what we did, invest time in each other, give them that boot camp or any of these jump starts that can push them into entrepreneurship. It is going to help you as a founder to have someone through in and throughout support you through this journey.
Great. Work-life balance.
So maybe you can just ask your spouse what is their dream or what is their area of interest. With that only we can know whether they can be a very good partner with you. As we all know, entrepreneurship is not 9-to-6 job. It's about, we don't know when the opportunities arise, which is the right opportunity. So if you have your spouse as your backbone, then you don't have to worry anything.
So one of the most advantages is your wife or husband is not going to ask you, why are you coming late?
All right, sir.
Hello, my name is Hari. I'm a journalist. I just wanted to ask something. Building up a business is a very stressful time. And as you all have made it a successful level, looking back, what would be your advice to get through the tension from both the wife and the husband, or from the female perspective and the male perspective? How do you help your co-founder get through the stress?
Whom it's directed to?
All of them.
All. Who would like to take it up?
I think your question was like, in terms of conflicts, how do you manage between, okay. I think it's a very difficult challenge because if you're not related to each other in a business as a co-founder or as an employee, it's much more easier to give feedbacks and things like that. Here, sometimes things can go very personal. So first thing is about, as I told earlier, if we had an understanding with each other in terms of like, to how do you actually limit the personal and the professional lives. So it helped. I think the initial days, probably 10, 12 years back, there would have been instances where things would have been personal, but over a period of time, like things are easier. And it's more about like supporting. And when you also go through a lot of failures, it actually teaches you a lot. So probably that helped. The previous failures of the previous startups, times when you don't have even money to buy food or shelter, those kind of things actually help.
As a partner, you would know their stress busters. For us, we'd go for a date night, and a good stress is busted over there. And like understand what your partner finds as like taking down that stress levels. That would be one of the best ways to. And as a partner, you would be knowing much better than you would be a co-founder, who's someone apart from a family.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sorry, we'll just take
celebrate
the last
every
question.
achievements together, and whenever there is a problem, we already know how these people, like our spouse, how they have, like those coping mechanisms. So we try and support it. Professionally, personally, it's almost the same for everyone. So we try and do that for them.
Hi, Achuthan here. Just a pertinent comment. I'm sorry, I know that you're short of time. We had our Thai content back, and Rajesh Nambiar of Cognizant was a speaker. And he was asked about this work-life balance. And he said, in the post-COVID, the paradigm has shifted to work-life integration, not work-life balance anymore. So I joined with Mabel. Thank you.
Great, great. All right. Maybe we can take it offline because she's told me twice. Thank you so much, guys. I enjoyed the most this interesting conversation. I hope we had much more time. Thank you so much for being wonderful panelists, and thank you all for being a wonderful audience. Thank you so much.